Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at At-Tahrim.pdf.
Yeah, this one looks pretty interesting.
It really does. It's got these really powerful stories, all about belief and disbelief.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, like what does it really mean? What does it look like to make these hard choices when it comes to faith?
And this text, it doesn't mess around. It goes right to the heart of it. It uses all these examples, these really vivid stories, like prophets and angels and stuff.
Yeah, and even like what could be waiting in paradise.
Right. Like you get a glimpse of it all.
Okay, so I think we should just jump right in. Let's start with verses 1 to 5.
Sounds good.
Okay, so it says, "O prophet, why do you prohibit what Allah has permitted for you, seeking to please your wives? Allah is forgiving and merciful." So like right away, there's a lot going on here, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
It sounds like this prophet is really stuck between like his own personal life, his family,
And his duty.
his divine duty.
Yeah, it's almost like right away, this tension between like what you want, what you desire.
Versus what you should do.
Yeah.
It really makes you think,
Oh, absolutely.
How often are we, even in our own lives, making choices based on those same things?
Right, like what we want versus what we feel like we should be doing. It's such a human struggle.
It really is. Okay, but then it gets even more intense.
Oh, how so?
So the text goes on to say that the prophet actually told one of his wives about this dilemma, like in private.
Huh.
And then Allah, revealed that conversation back to him.
Whoa.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's like a test, right?
It feels like a test.
This idea that even when you think you're alone with your thoughts, someone else knows.
Knows. And not just anyone, right?
Yeah, this is like serious divine intervention. Makes you think about the whole idea of privacy and faith.
It really does. Like, where do you draw the line
Yeah.
if even your private struggles are known?
I think it also speaks to this idea that real faith, like true faith, it can't be something you just turn on and off. It's got to be a part of everything you do.
It's got to be part of everything you do, like even the things you don't say out loud.
Exactly.
Okay, then there's this one part, and it's really striking. Like, Allah basically offers the prophet better wives.
Better wives. What do you mean?
If he chooses to get a divorce.
Wow. So like if he's struggling with, pleasing his wives versus doing what he feels called to do.
Like an out.
Yeah, but is it really? I mean, on the surface, it seems like, okay, easy solution.
Right.
But I feel like there's something deeper there, this message about putting your faith above everything else, like even those closest to you, your loved ones.
You and your loved one.
Because if you're truly following divine guidance, sometimes you got to make sacrifices.
That's powerful.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on. Verses 6 to 8. Things get intense. Yeah. There's this huge warning about protecting yourself and your family from this fire whose fuel is people and stones.
Whoa.
Yeah. Vivid. Right?
Very vivid. It's like, this is not theoretical anymore.
No, this is like real consequences.
Right. This is where the text gets very serious about the cost of disbelief.
That's like a wake-up call.
Totally. But there's hope too. Because these verses, they also talk about how powerful, how important sincere repentance is.
Okay, so if you turn back.
There's a promise there, forgiveness. And entering these incredible gardens beneath which rivers flow.
I keep thinking about those two images side by side. Like fire on one hand and then these peaceful gardens.
You're right, like such a contrast.
It's almost like, do you think that kind of imagery actually works? Like, does it resonate with people today?
I think it's timeless in a way, right?
Yeah.
We still love a good story about actions and consequences.
Yeah, that's true.
The images, well, those might change over time, different cultures. Yeah. But deep down, we're all still trying to figure out the same things. Accountability, redemption.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, moving on to verses 9-12.
Okay.
Here we get all these different examples, right, of belief, disbelief, all playing out.
Okay.
So we see Noah and Lot, their wives, they betray their husbands, and there were consequences for that.
Right.
But then we also get the Pharaoh's wife. She chooses faith, even though, she has all this worldly power.
Powerful stuff.
Right. And then there's Mary, the daughter of Imran, just this image of pure piety and devotion.
Yeah. So it's like the text is saying, hey, look, here's what happens when you pick this path.
This path.
Versus this one. Choices have consequences.
What's really interesting to me is, these are all family stories, right? Like, these choices are happening within families.
That's a good point.
It shows that you can be surrounded by by opposing views, even pressure from people you love.
And you still get to choose your own path.
And you still have to make your own choices. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, I feel like the deep dive, it's given us a lot to think about.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen the struggles of a prophet, those consequences of disbelief, but also these really inspiring examples of people choosing faith.
I think, if you had to boil it all down, it's all about accountability.
Accountability.
And striving.
Yeah.
This text is saying, hey, your choices, they matter. They have an impact on yourself, the people around you.
Yeah.
It's this call to constantly check yourself, your beliefs, the things you're doing.
Like, are you living up to?
Are you living up to what you believe? Are you choosing faith? Even when it's hard, even when it means giving something up.
That's a good question. That's something to think about. So to everyone listening, as you go about your day, maybe you'll come across these same kinds of struggles.
I'm sure we all will.
Keep these lessons in mind and think about how they might help you understand the choices you have to make.
And how you make them.
Thanks for joining us.